Hello everybody and welcome back to Typical City. How did Manchester City beat Manchester United? Was it another tactical genius employed by Pep Guardiola, or was it just a bit of a lacklustre performance from Manchester United? Elements of both, a little from column A and a little from column B in truth, because I think City played well at times, but United were poor in so many ways, tactically and application-wise, effort-wise. Let's start with the first goal to begin with. It's actually quite a clever bit of play. It's straight off the training ground. It's a clever, sly little bit of football from Josko Gvardiol and John Stones. You can see them both there stood in front of McTominay, Højlund and Maguire, as well as Marcus Rashford. Now, what Gvardiol and John Stones do is both step right in front of McTominay, Maguire, and as well as Marcus Rashford as well. Gvardiol picks on Rashford. John Stones tends to pick on Maguire. McTominay, I'm not sure what he's doing here. To be honest, I'm not sure what he's doing. Højlund has got the job of marking the runner, any runner that comes through, which in this case is Rodri. Now, if you look at the next frame, you can see straight away John Stones has stepped right in front of Maguire to the point where Maguire's panicking. He puts him in a headlock, and arguably that's a penalty as well. Should have been. But what you can see what's happened here, look at Rodri. He's bursting into that channel. A gap has been created purposefully by Gvardiol and John Stones, who are splitting their defence open and effectively creating a doorway for Rodri to run into, straight through the middle of the pitch. Højlund's managed to work himself around Maguire and John Stones, but he's nowhere near Rodri. He's nowhere near him, and that's when the panic sets in and the grab happens. And it's a penalty all day long. It was a clever bit of play. It was a really clever bit of play from Manchester City. Sly, a little bit sneaky. Some would argue that's a foul, what Gvardiol and John Stones are doing, but for me it wasn't enough for it to be pulled back all the way. It wasn't a real grab of the shirt or anything. They don't have to get out of the way. They can stand their ground, and stand their ground they did. They blocked, and they blocked well, and they created a doorway for Rodri. Really good play from Manchester City, tactically from a set piece. Now there's another quick bit I wanted to talk about as well. Another aspect of the game was the Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish link-up play. It was fantastic, really good. Little traps were being set by these two individuals brilliantly. You can see Jack Grealish here pinned to the left wing as he usually is with plenty of space. Dalot coming over, Eriksen coming over as well, but you can see Bernardo Silva's body language is immediately looking inside. John Stones gets involved in the play as well, creating a bit of a distraction, almost like a decoy for Maguire, something to think about for Maguire. But moving into the next frame, John Stones' movement has clearly created a path for Bernardo Silva, but that is atrocious defending from Manchester United. It's appalling to allow Bernardo Silva to drift into that space that you can see right there. Nothing comes from this. And they're fortunate that nothing comes from this. It's actually a bit of a poor touch from Bernardo Silva, which was a rarity in this game. But you can see Højlund having to track back. What Bruno Fernandes is doing back there, I don't know. What's he doing down there? Is he bothering? Is he bothering? Because, and McTominay as well. There's no danger where McTominay is. There is no danger because Amrabat's got the run of Alvarez and Lindelof's got the run of Haaland. McTominay has got to come in. He's got to come in and protect the middle of that particular space there. It's such a sloppy bit of defending from Manchester United. It really is. Now I wanted to focus on the build-up play, how City were able to build up back from the back with Ederson, bringing it forward and into midfield. As well as we normally do it, it was made easier by United, and I'm going to get onto that now. But here you can actually see United doing an all-right job. They've created a bit of a diamond. They tended to create a diamond against Brighton as well. Didn't work. This wasn't actually a diamond. It was just McTominay's made the shape look like a diamond in this particular formation, but it actually worked. What it did was protect the gap between John Stones. The radius of space around John Stones is small enough for United to act on, which is why it's forced out to Kyle Walker. As you can see, Kyle Walker receives the ball, starts to sprint down the wing with the ball. Because of the play that United have done previously, they were all in a decent shape. Kyle Walker's forced to turn around and pass it back. Pass it back he does. Next time round, you can see Diaz receiving the ball. This time the diamond's gone to shit. It's absolutely fallen apart, completely capitulated in the midfield. McTominay thinks he's got his man. He's got one eye on Rodri, right on his right shoulder, but he's not thinking. He's not sharp. He's not on his toes, and all it takes is a little decoy run from Rodri, a little dummy, and turn around, and he's gone. He's passed him in an instant. In an instant, he's gone. At this point, Piggy in the middle. McTominay stuck Piggy in the middle. That space that I was talking about before, about the radius of space around John Stones that we could see in the previous 2 frames ago, now look at the size of the space. John Stones knows this, hence why he's sprinting right into it, and he goes right into the middle of that space there, no problem at all. McTominay's looking over his shoulder, panicking, knowing the space behind him is going to be huge. Rodri dropping into defence to receive the ball from Diaz has caused chaos. Just a simple run, that's all it takes, simple run. Marking space is what United did throughout this entire game. They tried to keep a shape that was to prevent channels from being found and blocking the corridors of space. It was useless. It did not work at all, and too often this was happening. Now, as a contrast, look at United. This is their build-up play. This is how United build up. Straight away, you can see Jack Grealish is doing a fantastic job defensively. He's pinned himself on Harry Maguire. Why Harry Maguire is so far up the pitch, I do not know. He shouldn't even be in shot right now. He should be tucked way further down the bottom left-hand corner, you can see there. He should be down where Amrabat is, out of shot, more towards where Haaland is, creating an option for Jonny Evans. Instead, he's cut across, killed the space to which Eriksen wants behind him, because that's an easy ball to Eriksen. If Maguire gets out of the way, that's an easy ball to Eriksen. Eriksen can turn, and he's in space. Instead, Jonny Evans has no options. And just look at the indication of what the two players, Harry Maguire and Bruno Fernandes, they don't know what they're doing. One is pointing that way, saying get it back over to the right back, which is no doubt going to be Dalot. And Maguire saying, go long, mate, go long. So they clearly don't know what they're doing. They clearly don't know what they're doing. And the contrast between the two teams and their style of build-up play was so evident and so clear for all to see. It was shambolic from United. It really was. Now on to switching the play. How City were able to switch the ball effectively and did a really good job of doing that. Straight away, you can see you've got Ruben Diaz receiving the ball with John Stones on his right. It's not bad shape from United. They've managed to keep that line of Bruno, McTominay and Rashford with Højlund in front of them, with the two defensive midfielders. That was the setup that you could see. But what stands out to me immediately is how high they are. Normally teams are so deep, they wait until City approach the halfway line to create a press. Højlund pressing where he is on his own. You know, what a pointless job. What a pointless job. You're 2v1. They're going to pass it round you all day between John Stones and Ruben Diaz. Højlund, no point in pressing in that situation. But what the line does, it forces City wide again, which is what United were trying to do. They were trying to force City wide, but they've got to get back across when City switch the play. So as you can see, the ball makes its way over to Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker does okay, tries to take it forward. Rashford gets back, again, forces him back. That's good. That's what you want from United. That's what they forced. But look at how quick City were able to switch it and how poorly United weren't able to get across the pitch, because one pass later, the ball's back with Ederson. Talking 2 seconds and it's back with Ederson. Another couple of seconds later, you can see Bruno Fernandes and McTominay. They've all realised, but they're jogging. They're jogging across the pitch. They know full well where the ball's going to go next, and where it goes next is right to the feet of Josko Gvardiol, and now look at Bruno Fernandes. Does that look like the man who's sprinting? He's not even sprinting back. And that's left United in a 3-on-2 situation with Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish standing on Eriksen and or is that Amrabat, sorry, and Dalot with Gvardiol approaching as well in a 3-on-2 situation. It was shambolic. It really was how quick City were able to switch it without United able to offer any sort of shift in the midfield as they move across the pitch. They have to move as a unit, and they need to move quickly, you know, because it wasn't good enough. It was just a case of laziness. Again, you can see United have done their job here in the next frame. City have worked the ball out to the right-hand side of the pitch. Rodri's in trouble here. He's surrounded by United shirts. He's in trouble, so you got to play it safe. Go back. United have done a great job of clustering up the space and killing all the space for City to work in on that right-hand side of the pitch. So City instinctively time to switch the play. And as soon as they switch it, instantly the space is there for all to see. Jack Grealish receives the ball. Bernardo Silva drifting into that inside channel that you can see with Eriksen chasing him. Dalot's got one eye over his shoulder, aware of the danger behind him, but he's got Jack Grealish to worry about. Bruno Fernandes needs to get back and get back quick. He doesn't, unfortunately for them. And then McTominay comes across. Why McTominay's he's ball watching. McTominay's ball watching here. You can see Bernardo Silva, he's pointing to where he wants the ball. Jack Grealish obliges, gives him the ball down that channel. McTominay can't be bothered. He doesn't understand what's going on. It was such a low footballing IQ performance from Scott McTominay and attitude as well. Where is the sprint? Where is the intelligence to recognise the danger is Bernardo Silva in this situation? Gets to the byline, crosses it, and Onana has to pull off a ridiculously good save, which Erling Haaland should have absolutely punished them and made it 2-0 at that point. Now onto the second goal. Again, we're talking about laziness. This is clear, just downright laziness. This is just can't be arsed. Diego Dalot's ended up sprinting down the right wing, as you can see here. He's down the right wing. Josko Gvardiol's nicked it off him, intercepted, and knocked it back to Ederson. And this is the start of City's build-up play. Diego Dalot should be sprinting back. The danger now is down that left-hand side, which is pretty much where it was all game with Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish. Diego Dalot being well out of position. You're thinking, right, he's going to sprint back, isn't he? Wrong. Long ball up, a few passes between, receiving it to Alvarez that you can see. Alvarez receives the ball in the midfield. He switches the ball going long over to Jack Grealish, who's got acres of space. In fairness to Bruno Fernandes, he's sprinting at least. He's getting back, tries to get back, but you can see Diego Dalot's not even in shot yet. He's not even in shot. And I just want to go back to the previous frame. Look where Rodri is. Look where Rodri is on the edge of the area, and look where Diego Dalot is, okay? 10 seconds later, look where Rodri is now. That's called sprinting. So it's not like, oh, the freeze frames are proving me wrong or making it look like they're not sprinting. Look where Rodri is right now. Diego Dalot's not even in shot yet. That's an example of poor effort. Just application not good enough. Jack Grealish receives the ball on the left-hand side of the pitch. Here he is, Diego Dalot, just arriving. Sorry I'm late, lads. I'm here. Bernardo Silva at this point's overlapping. Scott McTominay again, ball watching again. He sees Bernardo Silva. He's in his vision. He has to see Bernardo Silva overlapping. He's got to scream to Bruno Fernandes in front of him, either go with the runner or I go with the runner. One or the other. Okay, he just leaves Bernardo Silva to go, and then just to compound things even further, both then chase Bernardo Silva. It's Sunday League stuff. It's schoolboy stuff. It really is, because Bernardo Silva's gone there. If Bernardo Silva chooses to chop, turn back, he can lay it off to Jack Grealish at this point. He's got all the space in the world. He doesn't need to. And it gets even worse. Hang on a minute, it gets even worse. So two players chasing one ball again, which is, again, it's like my 6-year-old lad's being taught not to do that right now. He gets into the byline. At this point, now you can see Lindelof, Jonny Evans at the back post. The disaster carries on from a United point of view. Lindelof chooses Phil Foden. Why does he choose Phil Foden? Eriksen's taken up the correct position for preventing the cutback, which is either to Rodri or to Phil Foden. Rodri pushes forward. Jonny Evans recognises that Rodri's the aerial threat. Lindelof, for some reason, as the left back, chooses to go for the cutback, go onto the penalty spot as the left back to mark Phil Foden, instead leaving Erling Haaland with that amount of space, which is embarrassing. It really is schoolboy stuff from Lindelof, the centre-back, who should know better, and he chose Phil Foden, who dinks it all the way to the back post for Erling Haaland to make it 2-0. Simple as that. Now, this is just another example of laziness that I'm about to show you. You can see this is in the 48th minute. Unbelievable amount of laziness. You won't believe what you're about to see from Mason Mount, United's number 7, who should be holding that shirt with pride, working his socks off. He's just come on the pitch as well, so there's no excuse for tiredness whatsoever. 3 minutes into his Manchester derby debut, and here he is in the middle of the park, flat-footed, looking at Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker's approaching the middle of the pitch. Rodri sees the potential. He's looking around, as Rodri usually does. Rodri sprints into the gap. Kyle Walker sees it. Look how flat-footed Mason Mount is. Rodri just needs to sprint into that gap, with that gap being all that protection that was being offered in the first half, with Mason Mount not being there. McTominay instead trying to prevent that central through ball, instead forcing City wide. Instead, this time, second half, Rodri can just waltz right through the middle of the park. Unbelievable. And look how far away he is. Mason Mount acting surprised that he's ran past him. I couldn't believe it. And now finally onto the third goal, which again, it's just a case of laziness and just like, can you be bothered? Can you be bothered? This time Christian Eriksen's to blame for this one, really. Looking at Rodri again, just waltzing through the middle of the pitch like nobody's there. Eriksen, you can immediately see from this freeze frame, he's not ready. He's flat-footed, stood completely upright. He's not even bending his knees. He's not even haunched over, ready to go left or right. He doesn't even fancy it. You can see Rodri's coming, can't be bothered. Doesn't want to face this one-on-one situation. Rodri approaches. Eriksen shows him his right-hand side onto Rodri's left-hand side. Rodri obliges. Just ghosts past him. No problem. Not like it's like, oh, surprise. And what's even more alarming here is you've got Reguilon sitting in centre-back, marking John Stones, and you've got Maguire at centre-back. Why is the other centre-back, Jonny Evans, down here, left-back, marking Erling Haaland, who's peeled away onto the right-hand side? And why are neither Reguilon or Maguire throwing themselves at that ball? Why are neither of them? They're completely flat-footed. Just go on, have a shot, mate. Have a shot, see what happens. And shot he does. He gets it on target. Onana saves it. Rebound to Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland picks up the pieces and lays it off for Phil Foden to make it 3-0. And I mean, this is why City fans, I think we need to be happy. Of course, we should be happy that we beat United. But really, we beat a very poor outfit. You know, we're going to come up against much tougher opponents than this in terms of application and the way they apply themselves to the game in terms of effort and the amount of running that they do. It was so poor. I'd be ashamed if I was a United fan. It really just wasn't good enough for a Manchester derby. But at the end of the day, you have to beat what's put in front of you. And beat them we did, and pretty emphatically as well, because we played our similar style of football, switching the play, concise, precise, build-up play that was really good, switching the play when needed, no panicking on the ball. Ultimately, it was a solid performance from City. It wasn't mind-blowing or anything like that, but it was solid, good enough to beat what was put in front of them. But what was put in front of them was a very lacklustre, laboured and ageing and haggard Manchester United players with old, Jonny Evans and Christian Eriksen. These players they're out of date. They're out of date, just like the club, just like the stadium. So Blues, great 3-0 win. Don't get me wrong, great 3-0 win. But still, we're going to come up against tougher opponents than this. Blues, what do you think about my match analysis? Are you getting this match analysis on other channels right now, in particular with City? Are you? If you're not, please drop a like and subscribe to this channel because it really does help. I'm going to continue providing analysis like this going forward after big games like this. I'll try and do it as often as possible. Let me know if you've enjoyed it, first of all. Get in the comments below. I really want to hear your thoughts. Like and subscribe. Typical City is the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now, holding up to